Well, howdy ho, neighborino. Got a little Ned Flanders in here today, why not? Beautiful, beautiful, hot day today. Kind of a slow news day, not really much going on outside of uh, an article that I saw which was really trying to tout, oh, look, the federal liberals and the provincial conservatives here in Ontario are getting together and they're doing 29 green energy initiatives. Oh, wow. To which I thought, ooh, 29 green energy initiatives. And then, of course, you click on the article and take a read, and it's mainly just like repairing infrastructure, basic sort of stuff that they're labeling as quote unquote green. And I guess this would be somehow could be interpreted as good news in the overwhelming hellscape that is our climate change disaster unfolding. Except Doug Ford, year one in his administration, canceled over 700 green energy projects. It was one of the very first things that he did when he came into office. Especially bad because he came in promising that he was not going to do that at all. So, oh wow, turns out that a former drug-dealing, wife-beating college dropout is also a prolific and effective liar? Who knew? And this really goes to illustrate, in my view, the tight and strong alliance that exists between the Liberal and the Conservative Party with the capitalist death cult. That we are constantly and consistently led to believe that the Liberals are actually in power in order to help the populace, when the truth of the matter is that the Liberals get into power explicitly to maintain the power of the capitalist death cult. That the goal is to treat the Liberals as a release valve for the social buildup and the social pressures created by the Conservative Party as well as the capitalist death cult itself. And by having this pressure release valve that releases a little bit of angst or existential dread or disgust or despair that is all created by the capitalist death cult, it allows the capitalists to maintain control of the society in overarching ways. So the Liberals will give little token relief, right? They'll give little token relief that is technically helpful for the populace. Like if you gave $100 of student loan relief, or if you raised the minimum wage by 50 cents, or if you raise unemployment benefits by $50, these things are technically useful, right, for the working class and for the bulk of the population. These things are technically a move towards a more socialist and egalitarian society, but they're tiny and they're token and they're designed specifically to give the people who are fighting for these things a sense that they have achieved some kind of victory. And because the role and the goal of the Liberal Party is to dig their heels in and fight for every single scrap that they have to drop out in crumbs, well, then this exhausts the populace. If every single tiny little itsy bitsy reform to the capitalist death cult requires all of the energy of the populace, then you could never actually stand up and confront capital in meaningful ways. And so when the time comes, once it becomes obvious what this party is doing to the populace, and it does become obvious eventually, well, then we all throw up our hands and say, well, if you're gonna just act like a conservative, then we might as well vote in a conservative. And then what happens? You vote in the conservative, and he comes in and he destroys everything, because that's what the capitalists want to actually be doing. They want to actually be dismantling the civil society. They're not interested in creating a stable economy. They're not interested in creating a society worth living in. They're interested in money for themselves so they can jam it into their offshore accounts and they can go live in the Cayman Islands or something, right? Like Galen Weston did, right? They're not interested in building a society worth living in. They want the society to just be a series of cogs that turn and generate money for them. And they genuinely do not care how that needs to be configured. And they certainly don't care if you're having a good time with it. If you're one of these people who bounce out of these videos around now, please be sure to like, please be sure to share, please be sure to subscribe. If you've got $1 jangling around in your pocket, I've got a Patreon down below. I really could use, even $1 helps. Even $1 helps, guys. We need to be supporting leftist voices. There's lots of fascists in the discourse who are extremely well funded. We need to be pushing the society to the left. And a way to do that is to donate $1 to my Patreon. I also have a live stream, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every weekday. Please pop in. We've got a good community building up. We are building a revolutionary project. That is what we are doing. We are attempting to get people into the streets. We are attempting to get people connected to protest movements. We are attempting to get people connected to what's going on around them in their society so that they can rebel against this system. And fundamentally, what this system is the alliance between the conservative and the liberal party, is that the liberals get in and they'll move the society one step forward, and then the conservatives will get in and move the society 2 steps back. And this is the game that is being played with the alliance between the conservatives and the liberals, which is why if you ever see anybody from the outside of this alliance, typically within the NDP, they will be attacked viciously by the capitalist death cult, right? The propaganda surrounding Bob Rae here in Ontario is astounding. That Bob Rae's great sin was that he spent money attempting to help people, and the propaganda surrounding this is that, oh, he collapsed the economy and it's he bankrupted Ontario, as if such a thing is possible, and everything I've ever read about Bob Rae is complete and total lies. But we're well trained as a people to be gullible and to believe what the capitalist death cult writes, and so we as a society have just absorbed this propaganda and absorbed these lies into our social consciousness. And the same thing will happen to Andrea Horwath should she actually win this upcoming election, given that she is not part, presumably, that she is not part of the capitalist death cult, that she is not an ally with the conservatives or the liberals, that she's not also a grifter who is attempting to grift us. And those are big assumptions, right? The capitalist death cult is extremely well funded, extremely pernicious, and extremely capable of co-opting enormous groups into their ranks. This is what they did with the healthcare system back with Pierre Elliott Trudeau, right? That they were dealing with a figure, Tommy Douglas, who actually had a conscience, who actually had a soul, who actually cared about people, who was fighting to improve the society, who was fighting to actually make things better instead of constantly plunging the society further and further towards this capitalist hellscape that we're currently on a trajectory towards. And so the capitalists knew, well, we can't buy off Tommy Douglas because he's actually a man with a conscience who actually cares about people. And we as capitalists understand that that's something that can happen, although we don't understand what it means to do that. And so what do? Well, they just co-opt the policy, right? If you can't beat them, join them, right? They seize control of the healthcare system, legislation. They implement it themselves as the Liberal Party so that they won't lose power to the NDP. Because the number one most terrifying thing for the capitalist death cult is getting in a political organization into power that is not allied to it, that understands that, oh wait, these capitalists are worthless, right? They provide no value, they offer nothing to us, they are constantly grifting us, they make our lives harder significantly across the board, and they maintain their power and privilege primarily through acts of extreme violence. That the resources that they tout as being, oh, an improvement of capitalism and capitalism is the greatest, are largely based on theft of other nations, as well as theft through wage slavery in their own societies. And should a party come up that actually threatens their power, threatens their stranglehold on the means of production, to use a Marxian term, well, then they are going to do everything they can to hamstring, undercut, and destroy said individual, like they did with Bob Rae, like they did with healthcare legislation, like they're going to do to Andrew Horvath, like they're going to do to Jagmeet Singh, like they're going to do to anyone who dares stand up against the conservative liberal alliance. And this alliance, it might as well be well spoken, it might as well be etched in stone, right? People like Erin O'Toole and Justin Trudeau, they go to the same places, they meet the same people, they shake hands with the same people, they make the same promises. They're attempting to configure the society to look the same in every way. And what is that configuration looking like? Well, it's looking an awful lot like a group of rapacious sociopaths who are attempting to destroy the planet in order to put dollar signs in their bank accounts on a system that is a man-made created system. The financial system, the financialization of our society, the financialization of our economies is a fake, false economy that is built on absolutely nothing except the bullshit of the capitalist class that is destined to collapse. And now they're planning the collapse with this statement, the Great Reset. And both the conservatives and the liberals are getting prepared for this quote-unquote Great Reset, which is coming our way. And both of these parties are well positioned and are positioning themselves in order to benefit from the desperation and fear that the collapse of our economy will create. And what's to be expected? Full-scale, hard-nosed austerian politics. That's what's to be expected. We don't need to accept this. As a people, the way that we could defeat this, and it is obvious that it must be defeated. These people are sociopathic nightmare creatures who are attempting to destroy the planet. And the way to defeat this is to simply stop voting for it. Acknowledge that they are allies, acknowledge that they work together, acknowledge that this idiotic statement of, oh, I've got to vote liberal or else the conservative will get in, is actually a tactic that they use and employ against you. And simply stop voting liberal and stop voting conservative. Full stop. Full stop. No excuses, no bullshit. And honestly, start treating people who vote conservative and vote liberal like shit. Like, They're not good people. They're not trying to help you. They're not trying to help themselves. They're not trying to help the society. They're not trying to help anyone. They're just reacting out of fear. That's all they're doing. And we can do better. All right, guys, this is the end of this video. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Please come to my live stream 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time each and every weekday. I've got a Patreon down below. We got to be supporting these leftist voices. Always remember, okay, guys? You are a divine being standing on divine energy. These capitalists spend hundreds of billions of dollars to gaslight you, to pretend like you are something less than what you are, to diminish, insult, belittle, cajole you into continuing forward with this system that is structured and designed to destroy you. We shouldn't let them. Remember who you are. Good luck. We're gonna need it.